tonight, ice falling from the sky and crashing through the roof of a man's home on Chicago's northwest side. Question is, though, where'd it come from? Eyewitness News anchor Cheryl Burton joining us tonight with more on the story.
Yeah, Kathy wants to know that too. Was it frozen waste dropped from a plane that flew over his apartment complex, or something out of this world? Wherever the huge ice chunks came from, they caused a lot of damage and created a mystery that has one resident perplexed but thankful they didn't land on top of his cats.
Inside this freezer are 3 ice chunks the size of bowling balls. John Connors is keeping them in hopes they will help determine how and why they crashed into his Ravenswood apartment Tuesday around noon. The information technology specialist was at work when it happened.
If I would have been home, I would have been killed.
His neighbor, Doris Padditz, was at home at the time.
I heard this terrible blast, and I thought it had to be in a house that had blown up with gas or something.
I walked in and it looked like a bomb had exploded in here. I looked up and there was like sky and clouds and the planes going by and all that.
Connors says the ice chunks crashed through the roof with such force they shattered the ceiling beams, barely missing his cat. Connors so shocked when he saw the damage, he didn't even notice the frigid Arctic wind whipping through the gaping hole in his ceiling.
My chair was soaked with ice, just like encrusted with ice, and the rug was like soaking wet from the ice that had melted.
One chunk was found in his bedroom, about 20 feet away from his living room.
It's probably pretty rare that that this is going to happen again. So I can't imagine, like, if that's the case, I've already bought my lottery ticket.
Thank God we're all alive.
You can say that again. Well, Connor's friend thinks the ice are Megacryometeors, a term used to describe a large, blocks of ice that seemingly fall out of the clear blue sky. Now, there's also the possibility, of course, as always, it is frozen liquid from an aircraft. Regardless, Connors is hoping that the landlord will pay for all of the repairs, and that's a Megacryometeor.
Yeah, I'm going with that, Cheryl.
Right. You want to go with that?
Whatever you said there. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks.
It went on. Here, just. Is it recorded or the red button? It's okay. Can you shine the light up there? Okay. What we're looking at here, you can see. Hopefully, I'm going to run the light along the beam here. This had to be an incredible impact. You can see the break line right here, where it snapped it on the long edge. And you can also, I hope you can see that it's actually pulled it out of the beam pocket a bit. There is some nominal structural damage. Now the beams aren't too far apart here. I'm looking at 10 inches apart, so I don't know how critical it is, but it is structural.
And Brian, this is like what was on the floor.
This is the piece that came. Yeah. I have to believe something that big, which we have to assume it's lost some mass in the heat, but
yeah. So there's another piece in the same.
It had to be going at an incredible rate of speed.
Yeah.
A chunk of ice the size of a basketball, weighing somewhere around 15 pounds, came crashing in through the roof of his penthouse suite while he was at work.
What do you believe to have happened here?
Well, my first thing was like I thought like it fell off a plane. Something must have fallen off a plane. You know, and then doing research, there's this thing called what is it?
He's talking about Megacryometeors, massive chunks of ice that seemingly fall out of clear skies. Scientists can't seem to agree on the origin of these ice chunks.
There's a giant asteroid flying towards Earth. Detected by a Russian robotic telescope, it's one of the largest and most dangerous space rocks approaching our planet's orbit. RT's Murad Gaziev looks at the threat from the void.
Humanity's last experience with a large asteroid was painful. Almost 2 years ago, the Chelyabinsk meteor, traveling at 19 kilometers a second, exploded in the skies above Russia. The blast was dozens of times more powerful than an atomic bomb. But that meteor was only 20 or so meters in diameter, weighing about as much as the Eiffel Tower. This new asteroid is an entirely different story. It's 20 times bigger, the size of a village, weighing millions of times more. If this asteroid, for now called 2014 UR116, flew into our atmosphere, it wouldn't just burn up in the air and shatter windows. This would hit the planet's surface, potentially killing millions. But calm for now. It's not yet on a collision course with Earth. The danger is, as it passes near planets and the sun, gravity could alter its path. In fact, the Russian space agency, which detected UR116, has satellites watching just for such objects. And it's not only Russia. An American observatory a decade ago detected another similar asteroid. There was a big scare about that, if you remember. Apophis was named after the Egyptian god of evil, and asteroids that size hit Earth on average once in 80,000 years. NASA gave it a very real chance of impacting our planet, though that was later revised down. But the danger from asteroids is very real, and astronomers are increasingly keeping an eye out and thinking about what to do if they confirm a collision course, though don't expect anything quite as dramatic as Bruce Willis leading his team of misfits to save the world.
O lumină puternică a străbătut cerul României azi noapte în jurul orei 3, a fost senin și ger sticlos, așa că fenomenul s-a văzut în multe zone ale țării. În Buzău, de pildă, a fost ca ziua în amiaza mare, spun oamenii, iar la București cerul a strălucit pentru câteva secunde. A fost un meteorit de mici dimensiuni care a ars în atmosfera terestră, spun astronomii, dar dacă era altceva, inclusiv un OZN, s-au întrebat pasionații de ufologie. Cătălin Radu Tănase este la Observatorul Astronomic și ne vorbește despre acest fenomen rar, înțelegem. Bună ziua, Cătălin!
Bună ziua, Diana, bună ziua, doamnelor și domnilor. Până când se va dovedi că a fost vorba de vreun OZN, rămânem la teoria specialiștilor, cum că am avut de-a face cu un meteorit de mici dimensiuni, probabil 1 metru sau 2 metri cel mult diametru, însă care călătora prin atmosfera de deasupra României cu vreo 30-35 de mii de kilometri pe oră. Asta înseamnă aproximativ de vreo 10 ori mai repede ca un glonț tras dintr-o pușcă. Slavă Domnului, vorbim de un diametru mic. Dacă ne aducem aminte ce s-a întâmplat la Chelyabinsk, în extremul orient rus, în urmă cu 2 ani, în februarie 2013, acolo a fost într-adevăr o întreagă localitate, o întreagă comunitate la un pas de tragedie, pentru că în acel caz meteoritul a măsurat vreo 15 metri în diametru și a explodat undeva la o altitudine de 30 de kilometri deasupra Terei. A fost cam și distanța la care meteoritul care a survolat România, cam de la nord-est către sud-vest, cumva așa în diagonală, dinspre Moldova spre sudul României, a fost văzut preț de 2 sau 3 secunde. Cerul nopții s-a luminat de parcă ar fi fost zi. Prima dată pe undeva în jurul localităților din Vrancea, Buzău, Râmnicu Sărat, Focșani, cam pe acolo. După care, timp de alte câteva secunde, deasupra câmpiei Bărăganului, acolo n-a fost nimeni, într-adevăr, să-l observe, însă cred că n-a fost mai mult de câteva secunde până când acea lumină orbitoare a meteoritului care ardea în atmosferă a ajuns deasupra Bucureștiului, iar imaginile au fost surprinse de camerele de supraveghere, ori ale celor care le montaseră pe diverse proprietăți, sau, de exemplu, o cameră de supraveghere de la aeroportul la Henri Coandă de lângă București, orientată firesc spre sol, pe zona de platformă, spre avioane, care la un moment dat, preț de vreo jumătate de secundă, pentru că meteoritul a tot ars, iar lumina a fost din ce în ce mai slabă pe de o parte, iar pe de altă parte, perioada în care lumina a fost extrem de puternică a tot scăzut pe măsură ce el s-a consumat arzând prin atmosferă. Dar oricum vorbim de un flash. Cine a fost tras la 3 dimineața și se pare că există cazuri totuși de români care se aflau în trafic la ora aceea sau se vedeau cu prietenii pentru că a fost Bobotaza, iar azi Sfântul Ion, au văzut acel flash, acea lumină. Unii vorbesc de un zgomot. Cei mai mulți spun în schimb că nu au auzit nimic. Cel mai probabil asta s-a întâmplat pentru că vorbim de un corp ceresc de mici dimensiuni. 1 metru diametru sau 2 metri înseamnă la scală cosmică aproape un bob de nisip, un grăunte de nisip care produce imagini spectaculoase, dar dacă vorbim deja de un diametru de 5 ori mai mare, 6 ori mai mare, 8 ori mai mare, ajungem la povestea din Chelyabinsk. Vă aduceți cu siguranță aminte imaginile cu acea minge de foc urmată de o coadă ca de cometă de fum și de resturi, care la un moment dat, la vreo 30 de kilometri, imaginați-vă, da, 30.000 de metri altitudine deasupra orașului Chelyabinsk din Siberia, explodează, iar acea undă de șoc face praf toate geamurile din respectivul orășel rusesc, la fel 10 sau
sau sute de oameni răniți, pentru că s-a întâmplat pe la 9 și ceva dimineața, toată lumea era la muncă, era la școală. Slavă Domnului, n-a fost asta în România, am asistat până la urmă la un fenomen ceresc destul de rar. Nu e tot timpul uzual să poți să vezi un meteorit de dimensiuni atât de mari, nu ziua când e lumină reziduală foarte, foarte multă, ci să fie senin, să fie noaptea, întuneric perfect și să vezi acel flash luminos care călătorește preț de 2-3 secunde pe cerul nopții dintr-o parte în alta. Vine, luminează și apoi dispare. E o imagine cu siguranță de neuitat și câtă vreme nu vorbim de pagube sau de altfel de efecte neplăcute, rămânem cu gustul nemaipomenit al unui fenomen ceresc unic la care putem să asistăm poate o dată în viață. Sunt fenomene rare, cel mai probabil dacă cineva ar ști unde să găsească sau ar putea fi calculată cumva traiectoria și dacă s-ar duce în zona aceea pe câmp prin zăpadă, poate ar avea șansa să găsească și niște mici fragmente de meteorit care costă destul de mult pentru amatorii de astfel de, nu știu cum să le spun, chilipiruri sau suveniruri cosmice. Asta dacă, bineînțeles, acel bulgăre de metal sau de piatră ce-o fi fost nu s-a dezintegrat cumva complet la intrarea în atmosferă și cu prețul vieții sale, să zic așa, ne-a oferit nou acest spectacol de lumină pe cerul nopții României. Impresionant!
Красиво.
А что такое?
О, сейчас взорвется все.
Что-то интересное.
Фотай, Костя, фотай, фотай.
Комета, да, вроде отходит, видишь? Вверх тянется, видишь?
Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, there's a ton of asteroids, and I mean a ton of asteroids, that are going to be whizzing by the Earth in the month of January 2015. Extraordinary, very extraordinary. I mean, unbelievable amounts. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a couple links for you. One is going to be from NASA's own site called the Near Earth Object Report. And it's a significant report. It tells you every asteroid that they can see that's going to have a near miss past Earth. Now, there's none of them that are scheduled for potential impact. None of them. Okay, so that's good news. But if any of them did, they could significantly impact life here on Earth, especially if it's a big one. But none of these are. But they are close enough to be considered near misses. The numbers of them. The reason I'm doing a report, and I want to thank Vicki Richardson for this information, but the reason that I want to talk about it is the sure numbers. Because here's why. NASA, by their own words, say they only can spot about 10% of the incoming asteroids. They can only identify and spot 10%. That means there's a whole lot more that are going by us. Some of them very near misses, and that's the reason you'll see meteorites race through the sky sometimes, and no one said it was going to happen. There was some meteorites that actually went by. I shouldn't say meteorites because they don't know if it was space junk actually from the Falcon 9 or was it meteorites over Brazil a few days ago. I've seen the video, a couple of different videos of it. It's quite unbelievable. It may have been space junk, and then again, it may have been pieces of a comet. I don't know, but just so you'll know this, when you look at this chart, if you go look at this chart, now tomorrow, there's an asteroid called 2014 YE42. That's 2014 YE42. It's going to go near miss the Earth. It's going to come within 4.3 lunar distance from the Earth. It is 57 to 130 meters wide. It's a pretty big rock, and if it hit Earth, it could seriously do some damage, especially where it hits at. It's not going to, but that's just to give you an idea. For instance, a few days ago, we had one. I mean, literally on New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2014, we had one that skimmed by the Earth. It was only 1.6 lunar distance from the Earth, and it was 12 to 26 meters in size, so it's kind of small. But if this thing hits, I mean, folks, if it was to hit, and it went really close, you would definitely know the impact of it. Well, I want you to check out the chart, though, because it's an unbelievable amount of asteroids that are going to go by the Earth. So there's one, of course, also on January the 26th, we're going to have another one that's going to be closer even. It's only going to be 3.1 lunar distance from the Earth, and it's a huge rock. When I say it's 400 to 900 meters, it's a big one. It won't hit us, but wow, imagine if it was going to. Also, on January 31st, we're going to have another one that will be within 4.8 lunar distance of the Earth. It's smaller. It's 22 to 49 meters. But that one on the 26th of January is big and is close, but it won't. But what's it bringing with us? So you may see an increase in meteor showers and different things. And remember, NASA only sees 10% by their own words. Now, they were saying that they've spent they've spent trillions of U.S. tax dollars to set up observatories, satellite systems, telescopes, high-powered abilities to see the asteroids. And are they telling us everything? And why is there such a push now to come up with a way to deflect asteroids to keep them from hitting Earth? It's because we've entered into this galactical belt where there's going to be an increase of asteroids that are going to be headed toward the Earth and no doubt start hitting the Earth. Now, if you read the Bible, you know in Revelation, there's a day coming out there where the Earth is going to literally be hit with fire and brimstone. And I assume that's a great storm in the heavens, and the heavens will be shaken. Well, one of the 15 points, taking a prophetic look at the year 2015, was the Lord really laid in my heart, is God says He's going to shake the earth, He's going to shake the heavens, He's going to shake the church spiritually. And you can find the references really in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 26, and also in Luke chapter 21, verse 25 and 26. Take a look at those scriptures. Certainly, there's something going on. Something biblical's going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. It was prophesied that this increase in activity in the heavens, the shaking of the heavens, like a fig tree casting its untimely figs. And even David Wilkerson prophesied in 1973 of a great cosmic storm that the earth would be involved in. And of the 52-minute prophecy he gave that year, everything he said for 52 minutes before a live audience has come to pass. And it's an extraordinary prophecy. The only thing that hasn't yet is a cosmic storm. And folks, we may be in the beginning stages of approaching that storm now. And that would go right along with Bible prophecy. Jesus is coming soon. Are you serious? Are you serious? What? You better start looking up, for your redemption is drawing nigh. It's begun. Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, this is unbelievable, but a very large asteroid, 2004 BL86, is on its path to intersect very close to the Earth. Coming up on this month, January 26th, asteroid 2004 BL86 is going to make a very close near miss. It is a huge asteroid, and it's probably bringing quite a bit of smaller meteors with it, which could actually break through the Earth's atmosphere. The Bible says, this keeps happening. What I'm trying to tell you is, and I brought this up earlier this month of January, we're having 80 near miss moments with asteroids, none of which are scheduled to hit us, but it's intensifying, it's increasing in these last days. You know what the Bible said in Revelation? I'm going to give you the report from NASA in just a moment. But the Bible says in 3 verses, if you go to Revelation chapter 8, verse 8, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain, burning with the fire, was cast into the sea. And a third part of the sea became blood, and a third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. So folks, I'm just telling you right now, there is events coming upon the earth. I don't know when we're talking about this major event here in Revelation is going to take place, but certainly the earth is coming into a higher probability. Now, you know that in the last days, God said he was going to literally, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word abideth forever. Peter explains to us that the earth is going to melt with a fervent heat. But let me tell you what NASA is saying. This large asteroid, it's about a third of a mile wide, will zoom safely by the earth. It won't hit us this month, January 26, 2014. It will mark the planet's closest encounter with a space rock of this size, and we won't have another one this big. Now, we'll have smaller asteroids. Now, remember, folks, this is all that NASA can tell us. And NASA admitted they only see 10% of the asteroids coming toward the Earth. They don't expect another asteroid this large to come this close to the Earth or closer until the year 2027. Now, in the year 2029, we know there's another huge asteroid called Apophis. It will come by. It won't hit us, but it will loop back and come extremely close. It may hit us on April the 13th, the year 2036. Matter of fact, NASA has estimated a 2.7% chance of a deep impact. So we can see what's going on right now. Certainly, there is a ton. There's a way more activity going on in the heavens, in space, as it's like our solar system is becoming very cluttered with incoming asteroids and dwarf stars and planet 7X or planet X. I mean, there's no doubt that we've entered into a galactical belt, and the extreme weather conditions are intensifying. But this is all part of fulfilling biblical prophecy in these last days. I don't know the day nor the hour Christ is coming, but certainly we know that there is a lot more activity going on in the heavens. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Be born again. We're running seriously out of time.
Some are more than 1 kilometer wide and threaten devastating consequences if they were to strike our planet. Of almost 70 asteroids on the radar, most are around 100 meters wide, the size of a double-decker bus, and would be capable of causing significant damage. Experts warn if one of these monsters, some of which travel at up to 70,000 miles an hour, were to hit Earth, it could alter life as we know it. Plumes of debris thrown into the atmosphere would change the climate, making the planet inhabitable for all life, including humans. An impact would still be catastrophic, destroying cities and knocking out transport and communication networks. According to NASA's Near-Earth Object Program, there are 68 close approaches forecast before the end of next month. The next, due on January 3rd, is the 490-meter-wide 2005 YQ-96 asteroid, currently hurtling through space at more than 30,000 miles per hour. The biggest to skim the planet will be the mile-wide 2007 EJ asteroid, due to throttle past on January 12 at 34,500 miles per hour. Experts say although it is unlikely any of these will hit the Earth, there is always a chance they may veer off course or explode, showering the planet with debris. Bill Napier, professor of astronomy at the University of Buckinghamshire, said, "If you are talking about a real major impact, you are looking at one every few centuries. These are the real showstoppers and in history have sometimes been described as fire from the heavens." However, the smaller collisions happen more frequently. Asteroids of 2 kilometers can cause a global catastrophe which would exterminate around 2/3 of the human race, mainly due to the heat produced. There is also the hazard brought by comets, and these occur on much shorter time scales. If the Earth passes through the tail of a comet, it will generate a massive plume of smoke, and this could be a civilization stopper. The warnings come after scientists from around the world converged at the end of last year to raise the alarm that there are around 1 million undetected asteroids currently flying through space. They said without better technology and means of deflection, one could hit the Earth and trigger a disaster similar to the collision which killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Launching Asteroid Day, designated the 30th of June, co-founder of the initiative Grigorij Richter said, "There are thousands of asteroids that we know nothing about. We take this threat very seriously. It just takes one asteroid to completely destroy life, not just humanity, but all species." Asteroid Day is all about raising awareness, understanding there's a threat and dealing with it. Scientists reckon of all the asteroids blasting through space and capable of wiping out our planet, they are aware of just 1% of them. Space expert Bill Nye, who has backed the project, said if the Tunguska asteroid which hit Siberia on June 30, 1908 had arrived just hours later, it would have changed the path of civilization. He said, if the event had taken place 6.5 hours later, Berlin would have been in the object's path and that would have changed the path of civilization. Our challenge is to find these things, but it is looking like a piece of charcoal in the dark. We have technology to deflect asteroids using lasers. This is the real deal. Perhaps the reason we haven't heard from other civilizations in space is because they didn't pass the asteroid test. Dinosaurs were almost certainly killed off by an asteroid. NASA said it is aware of 1,552 potentially hazardous asteroids, PHAs, in outer space which show an orbit dangerously close to swiping Earth. A spokesman said, potentially hazardous asteroids, PHAs, are currently defined based on parameters that measure the asteroid's potential to make threatening close approaches to the Earth. This potential to make close Earth approaches does not mean a PHA will impact the Earth. It only means there is a possibility for such a threat. By monitoring these PHAs and updating their orbits as new observations become available, we can better predict the close approach statistics and thus their Earth impact threat.
Hello everyone. What you are looking at right now is quite possibly our doom. Now, I've been sent some information by an individual, and he works at a very high level, and he's been working on a very sensitive program for quite some time now. Now, this individual has sent me information, along with a lot of other people, that with the expectations that we will share this and put this out everywhere we can, in hopes that people will prepare themselves, their families, their house, you know, their themselves, their mind, spiritually, however they have to prepare, because something is coming. And from the date of this video, you have about 7 months to prepare and get your affairs in order, because this is not some low-level individual who is putting this information out. Anyway, I'm urging all of you to put away as much food, as much water, as many weapons, as much ammo, seeds, just as much as you possibly can. Whatever you can afford to do, do it. You got about 7 months until you are going to experience something that none of us have ever experienced in the history of mankind here on this planet. There is an asteroid coming in. This program that this individual worked on, they already have the trajectory. They already know where it's coming from. They know where it's going to impact, and I will show you that here in a minute. So unless they're off, which I highly doubt, then we're in serious, serious trouble. And we're in serious trouble anyway. But either way, let me just get into, and another thing that makes this so serious, and, the higher-ups, the elites have been preparing for this for a long time. Now they've known about this for quite some time now. We're talking years and years and years. They've known about this, but they have the trajectory of this thing. They know it's inbound, it's coming in. And they're playing all these little games on the side to keep your attention diverted. But let me tell you, when they do make a public announcement, it is going to be panic in the year zero. You aren't going to be able to just go out there and buy what you need. These store shelves are going to empty out in less than 24 hours. Once they make an announcement, it's over. You got 7 months. You need to do what you can to prepare now. So, like I say, another thing that makes this a lot more disturbing is because they know exactly where this thing's going to impact. They have taken measures on our nuclear power plants here in this country. Not only do they have implemented new safe modes for these to go into in the case of a grid down situation, which there will be. They have even implemented new safe modes for the spent fuel rods. They have implemented to flood these things out. It's something like a continuous flooding. That way these things can sit and cool without evaporating everything for at least 2 years, because they're saying that there ain't even a chance of recovery from this one incident for at least a year to 2 years. It's going to get bad, people. Now, I urge you to share this everywhere and at least give others the chance to prepare and prepare themselves, however they decide to prepare. But you're going to see it. You're going to see civil unrest. You are going to see neighbor against neighbor. Your neighbor is going to come over to your house and try to shoot you in the face to take whatever you got. Anyway, here I will show you where your impact will be. From what they have told me and what I'm trying to pass on is this impact is going to take place right here, right in the center of the screen, just northeast of Brazil. Just northeast of Brazil. All of this, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, everything, it's all gone. It's all gone. This thing is, when this thing impacts in the North Atlantic, it's going to run, it's everything. All these fault lines are going to give way and all these fault lines across the world are going to give out. You're going to see volcanic reactions to this one event. I mean, there couldn't be more of a crap hit the fan scenario. But I am urging all of you to please, please share this and prepare. Take care. Hello everyone. So I'm coming in here to further update the supposed impact event that's supposedly occurring this year. And after further and further research between myself and a few other people, you know, there's so many rumors out here that are claiming that this is going to occur in September of 2015. Now, while I am not making any predictions, the same as I didn't in the last video, that was simply information that was passed on to me to share with all of you. But in this video, I'm going to put out kind of an update, and I'm going to give you more and more evidence that's going to lead up to believe that there probably is something going on that they're hiding from us. Something very, very big. And it's leaning to that fact of an impact event that they know of. And at the end of this video, towards the end of this video here, I am going to give you an individual's initials with a trajectory that this individual has come up with. A trajectory of where this impact will take place. So, let's move on. Let's begin. Right here you have another NASA scientist dies in a plane crash, okay? And this is just one of many, many of the astronomers, and this guy was a NASA research scientist, and it's just another one in a long line. So here we go. That's piling up. Now let's look at something that a lot of people don't really look at, that they try to cover up, which is the lot of the federal spending, okay? So if you go in looking at this, I mean, it's just amazing the amount of money that you see going out as mandatory spending, but yet they cover it all up. And I'll show you what they cover it all up, most of it. They cover it all up with is right here, military. They try to say it's all military expenditures, but we all know that's BS. Why are we spending that much money when we have troops coming home and all this and that? And also, you're cutting them down to 2 meals a day, supposedly, right? So, right here, and just so many of the hundreds of trillions of dollars of derivatives that are out there floating around, which is causing our economies, not only in the United States, but all across the world, to collapse all at one time. Why? Because they don't really care. Now here's a kicker that you don't really hear a lot of people talking about, okay? Now you had our former Department of Homeland Security Secretary, okay, Janet Napolitano. And you can look it up, during Janet Napolitano's speech before leaving the Department of Homeland Security, she talked about how they learned from Hurricane Katrina and Superstorm Sandy. They learned to have supplies already in place in a certain area for upcoming and expected disasters. So if they would have known, what she said basically is if they would have knew beforehand about Hurricane Katrina or Superstorm Sandy that it was going to be as bad and disastrous as it was, then they would have had supplies in place in them areas. And it kind of does not make sense because you figure that it would, whatever comes through natural disaster would destroy whatever supplies they put over there, but that's not how they look at it. They look at it as search and rescue, people being able to sustain themselves with survival supplies in that area. So, that takes you to this email. What's going down in Puerto Rico? Because you have right here, this was an email, and a lot of this stuff is from 2012, 2013, 2014. But here you got a guy that sends out a blog email stating that he just wanted to tell about something his brother called him about in Puerto Rico. And his wife worked at a hospital, and she was freaking out about hundreds of body bags that were recently brought to her hospital, as well as thousands to other hospitals around the island. Now, another thing they're also bringing in, is they're bringing in all kinds of military supplies. What people call the coffin liners, they're bringing a lot of those in, and they were calling, they were saying basically for some type of tsunami event. But this is all adding up if you look at it. If you look at all the scientists and astronomers, getting killed and dying off. If you look at the federal spending that they've been trying, they've just hijacked this country and the world economies and everything with their bunker building. I mean, they've been building so many underground shelters for the longest time now. So now you got to look at it and you got to say that the governments know that something is going on. You look at right here, and I mean, this tells so much. This tells so much right here. We all know what the global seed vault is, okay? And there's another one. The global seed vault was sealed in 2011. The seed bank will allow the world to restart agriculture given a global catastrophe. Okay, a global catastrophe. So that's not, anything like a economic collapse, martial law, this and that. I mean, we're talking a global catastrophe. And then again, the federal spending for right here, digging huge underground facilities in inhospitable regions, difficult for the masses to reach. Look at China. It even says there, China is digging extraordinary subway complexes under most of its major cities in a crash program that seems odd in terms of timing and scope. So you got to think about even just the global seed vault. Now that was in 2011. So they sealed it. Is it because that the trajectory of this thing that's moving so fast that they know that no amateur astronomers are going to pick it up? And that it's going to be on us before they know it, and maybe they're not even sure of their timeline. That's why they sealed the seed vault. Or maybe it was just complete, but I doubt it. They sealed that thing in a hurry. So now, last but not least, an individual, and I'm going to give you, without giving this person away completely, okay? I am going to give you his initials. The initial would be first name I, and his last name will be by a K. And this individual posted on his Facebook in October 31st of 2013. Okay? And what he's saying is he gave the trajectory and said that it was going to be an open sea between Venezuela and Brazil. Now, if you remember the last video I put out, I said that it was that from the source that talked to me, they said it was going to hit in the North Atlantic, somewhere in this area, right in here. Well, this is saying the trajectory on this is supposedly between Venezuela and Brazil. So you're talking right in this area here. Because here's Venezuela, here's Brazil, so it's got to be somewhere and it said in the open ocean, so it has to be somewhere in this area, which is going to put everything in here at risk. You're talking Africa, South America, North America, and then here we go. Now if you look, again, what do we got right here? Puerto Rico, which takes us back again to moving supplies into these areas, okay, which takes us right back to the hospitals, all the supplies being taken over there. Also, let's not forget, if there was an impact event in the North Atlantic, you're going to wash out the east coast of the United States. So let's not forget last year with all the preparedness plans in FEMA Region 3 and moving all the supplies over there, all the survival supplies, all the elementary schools with the 3-day kits for every child, all the coffins, all the water. I mean, just they move so much supplies over there. So there you go. That's the update I have for now. And like I said, I'm not saying it's going to happen in September of 2015. Maybe it's 2020. It could be 2025. I don't know. I am just passing on information that was sent to me, and me and a few other people are doing a lot of research on this. If you guys find anything good, Take care and let me know.
Lindsey Williams, a chaplain on the Alaska pipeline in the 70s, made friends with many of the ruling elite. He was told that the elite consider themselves to be gentlemen and think not informing the general public of their plans is unsportsmanlike. That they need to tell the people, so they use news and movies to put forth their fair warning. Okay? Now, who's the most subtle beast of the field? So, are we expected to see the ruling elite come out on worldwide television and say, there's a meteor coming? No. Instead, they're going to do it very subtly, because that's the way the beast speaks, okay? Very subtly. This makes them feel empowered to see their victims totally helpless and unable to prevent their own demise after given fair warning. So, have the elite given us fair warning that there is a meteor coming? Have they? I'm going to say yes, we have been warned. It's called Deep Impact. It came out May 8th, 1998. That date's important. Unless a comet can be destroyed before colliding with the Earth, only those allowed to be in shelters will survive. Will people survive? And by the way, the lead actor was Morgan Freeman, a black president. Is that dating it? And they can't tell the population for fear the population will go into panic. The world elite then begin to prepare survival underground bunkers. In October 2005, Stephen Dollins was thrust into a global scene when the Lord showed him the Illuminati card game, predicted many events of the past and future, and he made the very popular DVD Illuminati game Blueprint for World Domination. Today, there are many websites dedicated to just the Illuminati cards. Do the Illuminati cards speak about a meteor, about a tidal wave? In the early 1990s, the Secret Service attempted to stop the distribution of this deck of cards called Illuminati New World Order. Would you believe one of them says that there's going to be a meteor strike and a tidal wave? 2 months after the Deep Impact, this came out. The second movie, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. They told us they made 2 movies about it. This Armageddon, after discovering an asteroid the size of Texas is going to hit Earth in less than a month, NASA requires a team of deep core drillers to go up into this asteroid and drill into it and put a nuclear weapon and explode it and save the Earth. Well, the point is, there's 2 movies about a meteor hitting the Earth. He was told that the elite consider themselves to be gentlemen and think not informing the general public of their plans is unsportsmanlike. That they need to tell the people, so they use news and movies to put forth their fair warning.
Signing off 9/23/1780.
Clearly, he's leaving us a code. Some way to reach him. A time or a date, maybe? September 23rd? September 23rd.
I'm proclaiming the acceptable year of the Lord from now until September 23rd, 2015, Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement.
The planet also means, very concretely, our very survival. We are, all of you know it, on the edge of a climatic abyss. In fact, we have 500 days to avoid a climate chaos.
We have 500 days to avoid a climate chaos. Very important issue of climate change, climate chaos, and we had, as I said, we had 500 days to avoid climate chaos.
The French Foreign Minister said, we have entered into the 500 days of climate chaos, which takes us to September 24th, 2015. What's he talking about? Is he talking about something coming from, is there asteroid cluster on its way? Or is there maybe not to be a deep impact?
Great many changes that the populace of the Earth will undergo. A great many changes. But there's really nothing they can do about it. They can wish, hope, and everything else, but it's still coming. And it's going to change just about everything.
Now, are you referring to some type meteorites or some type of asteroid or something is going to affect the Earth approximately 500 days from now, about the same time he's talking. Now, he made this statement, folks, on May the 13th. 500 days from then is actually September 23rd, September 24th, I believe it is, which is actually the Day of Atonement.
And proclaiming the acceptable year of the Lord from now until September 23rd, 2015, Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement.
I believe the public announcement with the PR individuals was to mitigate a catastrophe. There are 500 days left. There's a 500-day window to mitigate it. But most people have agreed it's far too late to mitigate anything. There's nothing we can do. And it's coming anyway. So you're looking at, Pastor, it's important to let you know that they actually believe in the sixth seal of Revelation.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks,
Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
They think it could be maybe the sixth seal?
Well, the celestial happenings are on their way. They're very real, and the sixth seal is troublesome.
But there are massive asteroids orbiting near Earth. Asteroids that would dwarf a modern city. Asteroids that, no matter where they hit, would cause global destruction.
If you hit a large metropolitan area with an iron asteroid a mile across, that would be an unimaginable catastrophe for the local area as well as for the world. It would simply obliterate.
It would explode with 30,000 megatons of force. More power than the entire nuclear arsenals of all the armies of the world. People at ground zero would never know what hit them. Millions would die in the first instant. The air, superheated to 9,000 degrees, would ripple outward hundreds of miles, and millions more would perish. An entire metropolitan city would be wiped from the face of the earth. The impact would trigger an Armageddon of worldwide disasters. The initial impact would literally cause the whole planet to shake. Every major fault line could fail.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood.
First is an earthquake that, depending on the size and speed of the impact, could be pretty severe, and it would be felt all over the world.
Billions of tons of earth, heated white hot, would be hurled into the atmosphere and then fall back to Earth, igniting fires over the entire planet.
These secondary impacts there'd be billions of them. They would be all over the world, and they would serve to raise the temperature of the whole atmosphere. If you're outside, you'd be facing temperatures as high as an oven set to broiling.
The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up, a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up.
There'd be ground fires, forest fires all over the planet. Anything that could burn would burn.
The intense seismic activity causes volcanoes worldwide to erupt, blasting ash and smoke into a sky already blackened by raging fires. A black cloud forms around the entire planet.
This is not a cloud that causes a day to be dull and gray. This would be a cloud that would cut off all sunlight. the day would be black, the night would be black, and it would probably last for a year.
For the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion.
Will not the day of the Lord be darkness, not light? Pitch dark, without a ray of brightness?
When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss.
As sunlight is cut off, the temperature drops and a nuclear winter scenario begins.
It would be raining. The rain would be so much laced with nitrous acid, it would be like the mother of all acid rains. Photosynthesis would shut down. Plants wouldn't be able to survive. People and animals that eat plants would not be able to survive. And creatures that eat plant-eating creatures wouldn't be able to survive. Death would just go right up the food chain. Finally, as the sky finally starts to clear, you get a greenhouse effect, which slowly builds up the temperature and could last for hundreds of years. So it's just about every environmental disaster you can think of, all happening.
A number of our guests in the past 2 or 3 years, and I'm talking both secular guests and religious, ecclesiastical guests from various fields of expertise, have indicated that they believe something significant is going to happen in September 2015.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. If you do not wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what time I will come to you. I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what time I will come to you.
And proclaiming the acceptable year of the Lord from now until September 23rd, 2015, Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement.
We are, all of you know it, on the edge of a climatic abyss.
The fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss.
We are, all of you know it, on the edge of a climatic abyss. In fact, we have 500 days to avoid a climate chaos.
There will be climate chaos in the next, coming up within 500 days, which takes us to September 24th, 2015. What's he talking about? Is he talking about something coming from, is there asteroid cluster on its way?
And proclaiming the acceptable year of the Lord from now until September 23rd, 2015, Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement.
massive asteroids orbiting near Earth. Asteroids that would dwarf a modern city. Asteroids that, no matter where they hit, would cause global destruction.
If you hit a large metropolitan area with an iron asteroid a mile across, that would be an unimaginable catastrophe for the local area as well as for the world. It would simply obliterate.
It would explode with 30,000 megatons of force, more power than the entire nuclear arsenals of all the armies of the world. People at ground zero would never know what hit them. Millions would die in the first instant. The air, superheated to 9,000 degrees, would ripple outward hundreds of miles, and millions more would perish. An entire metropolitan city would be wiped from the face of the earth. The impact would trigger an Armageddon of worldwide disasters. The initial impact would literally cause the whole planet to shake. Every major fault line could fail.
First is an earthquake that, depending on the size and speed of the impact, could be pretty severe, and it would be felt all over the world.
Billions of tons of earth, heated white hot, would be hurled into the atmosphere and then fall back to Earth, igniting fires over the entire planet.
These secondary impacts there'd be billions of them. They would be all over the world, and they would serve to raise the temperature of the whole atmosphere. If you're outside, you'd be facing temperatures as high as an oven set to broiling. There'd be ground fires, forest fires all over the planet. Anything that could burn would burn.
The intense seismic activity causes volcanoes worldwide to erupt, blasting ash and smoke into a sky already blackened by raging fires. A black cloud forms around the entire planet.
This is not a cloud that causes a day to be dull and gray. This would be a cloud that would cut off all sunlight. The day would be black, the night would be black, and it would probably last for a year.
As sunlight is cut off, the temperature drops and a nuclear winter scenario begins.
If it wasn't already wintertime, if it were the northern hemisphere summertime, you would convert summer to winter.
It would be raining. The rain would be so much laced with nitrous acid, it would be like the mother of all acid rains. Photosynthesis would shut down. Plants wouldn't be able to survive. People and animals that eat plants would not be able to survive. And creatures that eat plant-eating creatures wouldn't be able to survive. Death would just go right up the food chain. So it's just about every environmental disaster you can think of, all happening. The day would be black, the night would be black, and it would probably last for a year.
For the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion.
The day would be black, the night would be black, and it would probably last for a year.
Will not the day of the Lord be darkness, not light? Pitch dark, without a ray of brightness?
We have 500 days to avoid the climate chaos. Very important issue of climate change, climate chaos, and we have, I said that we had 500 days to avoid the climate chaos.
The French foreign minister said, we have entered into the 500 days of climate chaos. It has begun. There will be climate chaos in the coming up within 500 days, which takes us to September 24th, 2015. What's he talking about? Is he talking about something coming from, is there asteroid cluster on its way? What's he talking about? He's saying the fall of next year.
I believe the public announcement with the PR individuals was to mitigate a catastrophe. There are 500 days left. There's a 500-day window to mitigate it. But most people have agreed it's far too late to mitigate anything. There's nothing we can do. And it's coming anyway. So you're looking at, Pastor, it's important to let you know that they actually believe in the sixth seal of Revelation.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks,
Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
You think it could be maybe the sixth seal?
Well, the celestial happenings are on their way. They're very real, and the sixth seal is troublesome. So everyone is going to be in a rush to determine, do they need to actually go and get the rest of the people and seal them in protected areas. Great many changes that the populace of the earth will undergo. A great many changes. And the weather phenomena is just one of those changes. The other change is something nobody can do anything about unless certain space agencies get together to attempt to mitigate what will happen. But there's really nothing they can do about it. They can wish, hope, and everything else, but it's still coming, and it's going to change just about everything.
Now, are you referring to that some type of meteorites or some type of asteroid or something is going to affect the Earth approximately 500 days from now, about the same time he's talking? Now, he made this statement, folks, on May the 13th. 500 days from then is actually September 23rd, September 24th, I believe it is, which is actually the Day of Atonement.
But there are massive asteroids orbiting near Earth. Asteroids that would dwarf a modern city. Asteroids that, no matter where they hit, would cause global destruction.
The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea turned into blood. A third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed.
First is an earthquake that, depending on the size and speed of the impact, could be pretty severe, and it would be felt all over the world.
This is what the Lord Almighty says. In a little while I will once more shake the heavens and the earth, the sea and the dry land. I will shake all nations, and what is desired by all nations will come.
At that time his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. People will flee to caves in the rocks, and to holes in the ground, from the fearful presence of the Lord, and the splendor of his majesty, when he rises to shake the earth. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. It will come like destruction from the Almighty. Because of this, all hands will go limp. Every heart will melt with fear. Terror will seize them. Pain and anguish will grip them. They will writhe like a woman in labor. They will look aghast at each other, their faces aflame. See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day, with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land desolate, and destroy the sinners within it. The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. I will punish the world for its evil, the wicked for their sins. I will put an end to the arrogance of the haughty, and will humble the pride of the ruthless. I will make people scarcer than pure gold, more rare than the gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will shake from its place at the wrath of the Lord Almighty, in the day of his burning anger.
There'd be ground fires, forest fires all over the planet. Anything that could burn would burn.
The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up. A third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up.
But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar. The elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare.